Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. It's great to be with you on a gorgeous, gorgeous day across Charlottesville and Central Virginia. My name is Jerry Miller. An utter pleasure to connect with you guys on this platform. A fantastic program lined up today. We're going to spotlight two leaders in our community, Leontyne Peck, Carrie Macfarlan, joining us on the I Love CVille Show to spotlight their journeys as leaders, as influencers, as entrepreneurs, and the Charlottesville and Central Virginia community. This is going to be a free-flowing discussion that I think you certainly are going to enjoy. As always, you can join us with the discussion. 7 channels we're airing this on the I Love CVille network. Just type in a comment, your perspective, a question for the ladies, and I'm happy to relay it to them. Before we welcome the ladies to the show, and they look fantastic and undoubtedly are making I Love CVille look a lot better today, we're going to thank some of the sponsors that make the program possible. First, we will give some love to Intrastate Pest and Service Companies. Let me tell you, 15-second journey of this business. It started in 1969 with one man and one truck. It was Mr. Wells. He started this business with some sweat equity and some vision. He would go to his first client, service them successfully, and then head to a payphone, yes, a payphone in 1969, where he would call his second client and say, "May I come to your home now?" Today, Intrastate Pest and Service Companies is a 4-generation strong business, nearly 100 employees, the headquarters right around the corner from Bodo's Bagels on Harris, an office in Richmond, an office in the Shenandoah Valley, and undoubtedly making Charlottesville and Central Virginia and the Commonwealth in totality a better place for everybody. We will also thank the doctor, Scott Wagner, of Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine, for being a part of this show. Dr. Wagner is changing people's lives, and he's doing it through chiropractic care, through sports medicine, and through physical therapy. Who's got your back? Dr. Scott Wagner and his team have your back, without question. Guys, I have the easy task. I sit in front of this microphone 5 days a week from 12:30 to 1:30 and 3 other shows on the I Love CVille network as well, and I get to be myself. It's guys like Harris Tolber, Judah Wickower, the team upstairs, Lauren Linsky, that have the hard job of keeping me on track. That's no easy task, guys. No easy task at all. Harris, you're the director. The show is yours, sir. Let's go to the studio cam, and let's welcome 2 beautiful, intelligent, influential ladies to the show. We have Leontyne Peck right here.
Thank you.
We have Carrie Macfarlan over here. Thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Thank you.
We will start with you, Leontyne. I would like for you to reintroduce yourself to the viewing public, kind of a snapshot of your personal and professional bio.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me to come back again. I do love I Love CVille. Just a little bit about me. I'm a community scholar. My passion is history, or our passion, history and genealogy. Also, I am an author and a public speaker. And, my background, my professional background in education is in community and economic development and political science. And I'm a wife and a mother.
I love it. I love it. How about some of the aspects you love about the community?
Well, I love the people. I think that Charlottesville is unique because there's people that are here from really all over the world. Just like any community, you have people that you have great relationships with and then people that you don't like so much here. But I would say that 9 out of the 10 people that I've met in Charlottesville have been wonderful people and have been very nice to me.
Fantastic. We're going to have a free-flowing discussion. Before we do, we'll have Carrie Macfarlan introduce herself to the viewing public. The personal and professional bios, please.
Okay, I'll make that quick. Really, thank you so much for having me out today.
Our pleasure.
So my background was also in teaching, and I am married to a family practice doctor. And we have 6 kids together, and that's a blast, and they range between 26 and 36, and so we're at a really sweet stage now. But we found that there was like a real niche in Charlottesville. People can open up a business, and it's not like any other little town where once you get something moving and people realize that they need it, instead of having like 18 things in your shop, just doing one thing really well is something we knew that was going to explode. So even when I say we own a company called Smooth Skin Laser, and we permanently remove your hair, but that is not what we really do there. What we really want to do is just love people. And so that is how I feel about Charlottesville, and what Jerry's doing here. It's loving Charlottesville. And so I think we do that in a whole bunch of different ways, and we can talk about that as we enter into the show.
How about this? the aspects that you love about the community.
Okay, yeah. Very close to what Leontyne said. It's not just that I love the people in Charlottesville. I think they are a little bit different than some other cities. I was married to someone in the military, and my father was a military man, and we moved around a lot. But what this has here is like a homey feel no matter where you go. Whether you're on the downtown mall or you're in Stonefield or you're cruising around, I feel connected to people almost like it's the difference of a village and a city. People would say, oh, Charlottesville's a city. But it has a feel of a town or a village. I just love that.
I love it. I love it. And we're getting a lot of positive feedback so far. Rachel Burns says, I can't wait to see you, Carrie. I will see you Friday. Michael Guthrie saying, shout out to Carrie Macfarlan. Give it a like, give it a share on any channel you're watching. Your stream is undoubtedly blowing up as we anticipated it would. Let's relay some of the, let's thank some of the listeners. Cindy Redmond, hi, Leontyne. Have a great day.
Thank you, cousin.
Walt Lee, is it Blow?
Yes, Walt Lee Blow from Cumberland, Maryland, my husband's hometown. Hi, Walt.
Cumberland, Maryland. You are so much an asset to our community and to the world.
Thank you.
Wow.
And you know what? I messed her name up last time, so I'm going to have to ask you this time. Give me that name right there.
That's Renata. Hi, Renata.
Renata. Yargo Sanders says, what up?
Hey, girl.
So, guys, we're going to have some
it.
fun. Cynthia Viejo, welcome to the show. We love Cynthia of Nest Realty. If you have any perspective you'd like to relay to the ladies, I'm happy to share it with them. This is what we'd like to cover on the program. What it's like to be an influencer, a leader, someone actively involved with charity and nonprofits, someone actively involved as a teacher in history, as an entrepreneur in our community, and specifically from the female perspective. So why don't I start with that open-ended? You have your hands in a number of things.
I do.
We first got touched by your brand with the Queen Charlotte birthday and celebration. Queen Charlotte is the namesake of Charlottesville, Virginia.
Correct.
She is on the board. In fact, the head of the board. Is that right?
I'm the president. There are only 5 of us.
The president. The president.
I am the president of the Queen Charlotte Society.
I love
There
it.
are 5 of us, and as I mentioned the last time, our mission really is to educate people in the community about the history of Queen Charlotte. And then our big event is to have the birthday party every May.
I love it. I love it. It was over graduation weekend. So I'll start with this question here. How have you seen through your time in Charlottesville and your very active lifestyle in Charlottesville, how has the community responded to you as someone who's a leader, someone of influence, someone kind of dictating the pace and tempo in the community?
Well, I can say that I've had some good times and some bad times in Charlottesville, primarily good times. But I've been here going on 16 years now, and when we moved here, have you? So we moved here at the same time. I didn't know anything about Charlottesville, but when my husband and I visited, we went to the downtown mall. We really felt a positive energy. And I grew up in a little community in West Virginia called Piedmont, West Virginia. It's going through some sad times now because their major employer, Versa, which used to be West Vaco, it's closing. So shout out and prayers to the people in that community. But anyway, back to Charlottesville. We came. We liked it immediately. And I'm just the type of person, if I'm going to live in a community, I want to be able to give to the community. And so even when I've lived in other communities, I've volunteered with the Girl Scouts, with the Links, with the sorority, I think it's important. But what I found here is that I think there are over 700 nonprofit organizations, so there's always an opportunity to volunteer. And I found that the people here have been very receptive to me, but there are times that my friends know I'm very outspoken and try to be as truthful as possible, and sometimes people don't like that, but that's okay. That's who I am, and it takes a lot of different opinions, and you have to be strong, and you have to be courageous in a community where you're new. I was new to the community, but just get involved.
What is it, the outspoken nature? Why has that ruffled some feathers, do you think? Just the honesty?
I think being honest and also being a black woman. Sometimes in the South in particular, people are not accustomed to, even black people aren't accustomed to outspoken black women. And so when you are and you're not demure, they may take that as being too bossy, which that's fine if you're bossy, but I think you need to always be true to yourself. And that's my personality. And Walt can speak to that. I'm just not a shrinking violet. But I don't feel like I'm bossy. I feel as though if something needs to be mentioned, then it needs to be mentioned. So that's what I've done in this community.
I love that answer. Thoughts on this?
Can we be friends?
Yes, we can. We're the same, I bet.
Thoughts on that? Yeah, obviously, I have not walked in your shoes, so I just want to say I love what you're doing out there. I knew who you were, and when Harris said, "Aunt Carrie, do you want to come on this show?" I was like, I'm not worthy of what this woman is doing. So just thank you for what you're doing, not just for women, the Black community, but yeah, it's just really super cool.
Thanks.
So what's the question?
How about you? I mean, you are outspoken. You're an entrepreneur. You're a businesswoman. You're actively involved at Trinity Church.
Yes.
Thoughts on launching the business as an entrepreneur and a businesswoman? Trials, tribulations, roadblocks.
Okay. Cool. That's fun. When we opened Smooth Skin Laser, it was me and my husband, and I don't know if you've heard of the Trinity Fellows program. Actually, Laura Kelly was a fellow. There's probably been a couple people on your show. 14 or 16 people graduated from college, come to our church, and they have to work in the community, live with a host family, help in all kinds of different volunteer situations, and they have to get a job. And we've hosted a couple of those fellows as a job at Smooth Skin. So this Trinity fellow who was 21 years old, shout out to Whitney Ezel, opened up that business with me, and that was 9 years ago. And so since then, for sure, there's been some moments where you're like, are we going to make payroll? And then there's some moments where you're like, God is so good in all of this, whether you are making the payroll or not, because we have grown, and we've moved our business, and now I have 8 employees and 6 laser machines, and we are busy and busting at the seams.
That is great.
It's just really exciting. Yeah.
Did you get resistance from anyone or from any person about, I'm going to launch this business here in Charlottesville? And if so, what was that resistance like?
I would say that would be my own inner turmoil.
Yeah.
Because
you're a
really,
perfectionist?
Actually, no. That would be Harris's mom, who's my sister. I was born into a family of 3 firstborn children who are all overachievers and perfectionists.
Tough.
And yeah, my mom, my dad, and my sister are all amazing firstborn children. But I think for me, I listen to those things that, people tell you, oh, you're not worthy, or oh, you can't really do that, or oh, do you have the money, and all of that. And I will tell you, Andy McFarlane, that man believes in me, and he said, I think you can do this, and I think we can do it really well. And I will also say, if you are going to go into business, find someone that has a different gift set than you.
Absolutely.
If you're the extrovert who's relational and loves to love people, then get an office manager who, shout out to Deborah Amberzini, who keeps my life organized. And I'm not just talking about doing the payroll and QuickBooks, but just all of those things. So, yeah. So I would really, nobody said, I don't think you can't do this, Carrie. But we just, as humans, think, can I?
Can I do it?
Yeah.
That's a question that I struggle with, and a topic I struggle with often as an entrepreneur, as a young dad. My wife and I, our 2-year anniversary is June 3rd, so right around the corner.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The second.
Yes, very nice. Good time to get married.
Yeah.
This is the topic I want to throw to you is the sense of vulnerability. And managing vulnerability and getting through the most vulnerable times. Because I think we all have, there's a lot of similarities here. One of the similarities is we have a sense of like inner confidence and a sense of like strong self-awareness and courage. And I think that in a lot of ways is, for lack of a better phrase, could be like our superpowers. And that if someone says you're not going to do something, that's just going to drive us and motivate us to do it even more.
To do it even more.
Okay.
But
I can relate to that.
There are times though with like the vulnerable piece where I'm like, I got to figure out how to manage this. Can I throw that to you?
You can. You absolutely have to have self-confidence, and you have to have faith, but you also have to have, I would say, 1 to 2 go-to people. that you know they have your back no matter what. If you're successful, if you fail, that they're there. And for me, that one person has always been my husband. We have known one another for 42 years, and on June 2nd, it'll be 29 years that we've been married.
You go, girl.
Yeah, and
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, so he's my go-to. We always said that we are in this together, so that if the battle is the world, we're fighting the world, and we're not going to fight each other. And so you have to know that, because individuals like us, we take risk, and sometimes you lose everything that you have. And you're wondering, okay, that peanut butter and jelly, I can't eat another peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And then just right around the corner will come something good
The
your
banquet
way.
table.
Yeah, so exactly. So then, you have filet mignon. But it's an up and down. But we're born to do certain things. And I've said this to my daughters. I said, leaders, at the end of the day, they want to make sure that everyone on the team is successful. That's what a leader does. You don't leave anyone behind. Whether it's your family or your business or your community or your country, a strong leader makes sure that every single person is protected. You don't leave anyone behind. And so I jokingly say to them, I have to be the leader because I need to know who's in front.
Oh, that's good.
That was amazing.
Really good.
I need to know who's in the front, because someone that's leading us, they may not have the same principles, then we're all going to fall over the cliff and die.
That was amazing. That is a sizzle reel right
We
there.
can finish the show now.
Carrie, you got to follow that right there. Let me give you some props right here.
So good.
How about the leadership piece, the vulnerability piece?
I was actually, as you were saying that, I was thinking of different leaders. And if Mike Guthrie is on this show,
He's watching.
okay, I'm telling you, he could, run for president. I would vote for him. But just the way he leads by example, and he lets everyone else kind of shine in all their glory. And I think you're right. You're using all these big words like as an entrepreneur and a leader in Charlottesville. I really don't quite see myself as that. What I see is enabling people who have a different gift set or maybe even a similar gift set. And I was telling Jerry before we got on the show that I have 3 women on my staff that are maybe 20 years behind me in life. So what do I have on them? I have 20 years on them.
Yes.
I have some experience that I can say, you're going to sleep through the night, Jerry, and this baby is going to live, and your wife is going to live, and it's going to be okay.
That's good.
Yeah, right?
I need to hear that.
Right.
Sleep.
We've been there.
We have been there, and they all survived.
They did.
Their journey is not my journey, and so I have to kind of remember that too and say, did I mother well, and did I allow them, in whatever that looked like in their life, to say, now they can lead. And yeah, I would say, I can't give myself any of the credit for that. Let's give that, to God. But yes, yeah.
I'm going to relay some of the perspective from the viewing audience. I'm going to throw this question to you guys before so you can think about it. Regrets, how you manage regrets, if you have any regrets. I'm going to throw that out there.
Are we talking about when I was 18 or?
Anything. You can go hey, I can relay something about that too. Cynthia Viejo says, guys, they call that authenticity. Always best when you step into your heart and speak your truth. I love the show and what you guys are doing here. Ron Gantz is watching. Erica Renee, Amanda Traplowski, Lauren Linsky, Brian Hall, Tyler Berry, Mark Wagman, Bellamy Brown, who's running for Charlottesville City Council, Elliot Harding, the one-time chair of the Republican committee in Charlottesville and Central Virginia watching. Larry Rhodes is watching. Let me relay your feed. Your feed is blowing up right now. Renata says, Jerry, I'm coming to see you the next time I'm in CVille, so you won't forget me or my name.
Yes.
I promise
Come,
you
Renata.
should. Come, Renata. Leah Perrier.
Hey, Leah.
Yeah,
yes.
she says, Leontyne, you're amazing. So cool. Glad you have my friend. You're in my friend circle. You truly are amazing.
And Leah is amazing as well. Yes, she is.
I always say
some props. You're getting some. Go ahead.
I've got to just tag on that. When anyone thinks I'm doing something well or like says you're amazing, it's usually because they are.
I agree.
It's not you that really is. It's somebody else.
Other
Like
people.
they're the most amazing person. Yeah.
Michael Guthrie says thank you. Grant Tolber in the house right
Hey,
now.
Grant.
Joseph Trenton Jenkins in the house, guys. Give the show a like and a share on any channel that you're watching now. How about the regret question for you? Regrets are only natural, right?
that we do have regrets, but I think sometimes those regrets, we grow from the regrets.
That's so,
we have to grow from them, and you can't live in the past. You can learn from the past, you can teach from the past, but certainly I have regrets, and I can't enumerate them, but sometimes when you're just like during the holiday time and you're with your family and you're sharing stories, and then you may say, well, I regret that I didn't finish, my PhD.
Yeah.
But I couldn't because I had to buy milk and Pampers. So there might be a reason for that. But the thing about life is that some of those regrets you can go back and recapture. You can change it. So I would say that the regrets that I have, I don't think about them. I've learned from them, and I move forward.
I love that answer. Thoughts on that one, Carrie?
I'm wondering if that's a personality thing as well from, people that are a similar like-mindedness. My husband's brother is in high-end corporate real estate, and he's tanked all the way down to bankruptcy and climbs back out and is, doing amazing things in the world. And but yes, he would say something similar. And when do we ever say, oh, life was perfect and it was so peachy and my business was like awesome and all these things were going well, and that's when I grew? Nobody. No. When did you grow? It was usually during the times where it was a little hard. There might have been, I made a mistake, shouldn't have gone that way. Things like that. I also have to say, I have this side business. If Rachel Burns is listening still, or she's watching. Hey, Rachel. And this is why Harris thinks I'm this entrepreneur. I also have a clothing business on the side. It's my side hustle. I've done it for 14 years, and I just get to love women in both of my businesses. And that's what I think. If you're authentic, and it's not about really selling somebody clothes or selling somebody hair removal where they're never going to have to shave again. You could say it's that, but it's really, I just want to be in relationship with you. So come over and let's have a glass of wine, and I can show you these clothes, or come into my clinic and share your heart and something really hard going on in your life, and at the same time you leave there and you don't ever have to shave. Okay, then it's a win for me, and I thrive off of hearing people's stories.
One of the qualities I see with both you guys, and we try to embody it here with our business, is you champion others around you. Like you guys, and I felt the energy as soon as you walked in. I'm big with feeling energy with people, and it's just radiating and circling out of you guys. And it's just like pulled into your orbit. Throw this question to you: championing people and trying to bring out the best from those around you, and surrounding yourself, Carrie, with positive, like-minded people as well. Let me throw that to you.
That is so. That's such a great question, because I think as women, when you're in 7th grade or 10th grade, it's how can I be in competition with this person? And it's so sad. And if there's anything I love is working with high school and college kids and saying, you do not have to compare your body to her body or whatever. So now when you get to this stage, hopefully I learned that by my 30s or 40s, where how can I say, you are beautiful.
Yes.
You are. She walked in and I was like, I already follow you. I think you're doing great things in the community. Where I think when you're a younger person, you're trying to prove something maybe. Right. So it might have been, oh, we're both going to be on the same show today, and that's going to be a little bit weird. And I already read your book, and you are doing way more things than me, and I don't feel worthy. Instead, I want to say, what can I learn from you?
Exactly.
And how can I have people that are different from me around me so I can learn and grow and all that.
And celebrate each other.
And celebrate.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that we do a disservice if we don't embrace each other.
Gosh, yeah.
And when it's, I will tell you right now, if it's negative energy, I'm like, goodbye.
Cut it out.
See you later.
Yeah,
I'm not interested. I don't want any negative stuff.
Let me I'm in on that.
Yeah, I give you a chance.
Do you give them a chance?
I give them a chance.
I give several.
Yeah, I give them a chance, and if it's just negative, then I'm just honest and say, life is very short. And it is short.
Yep.
And I don't want all that negative swirling around
So
me.
Can I chime in on that just for a second? I always think of maybe for a while that person might really need you. That negative energy, they just, maybe you're supposed to be positive in their life for just a little bit. But if it's constantly with a withdrawal, this is what if they leave your presence, they're probably getting a deposit every time. It's like you're at the bank, deposit.
Like a vampire.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then every time I leave that situation, I'm like, it was a withdrawal again. I just took out some more money. So how long maybe does God want me in that person's life? But I'm with you on that.
No, I don't know. No.
Yeah?
Yeah, no negative stuff.
You know, I do the same where I just trim it out. Sometimes the older I've gotten is like, I feel like I am maybe trimming too quickly, and I need to be more patient with the folks that are looking for some of that positive juju.
Yeah, you could teach them a lot, Jerry.
You could. And I think you can give them positive
because we're glasses
energy.
half full of people.
Yeah, we are. We're optimists. We definitely are. And my youngest daughter says that those traits, I'm a Scorpio. And so I can just cut to the chase, just cut you right out and not go back. But if you knock on the door and you want to come back and you're coming back positive, then we can move forward.
When you go in, let me throw this to you. You mentioned this at the beginning of the show with some of the resistance that you've gotten from Charlottesville, and I think your exact words, and I'm paraphrasing here, I like 9 out of the 10 people in this community. And one of the 10% of the community is maybe taken aback by your confident, strong, honest, to the point, deep thinking, poignant conversation, your perspective. Let me throw that to you.
Yeah, I think it might be also with image and what we're taught, how people should behave. That if you are an African American woman, if you're a black woman, then you need to stay in your place, and this is where and I'm mainly talking about the workplace, not so much the charity, but the workplace. And so the issues that have maybe been hard, difficult, typically have been in the workplace, where women that aren't strong or want to dominate. They think that that's strength. And I don't necessarily think that you dominating and you calling all the shots and you being nasty is leadership. I don't. No. And so if I call you out on it, it's a problem.
Walk me through that.
So, for example, a real boss, won't give the name of the employer, but the real boss calls you into the office and says, "You were late today." Yeah, I was, because I had to take the bus to get here, and then before I came to work, my daughter was having a difficult time. She was sick, so I had to change my schedule. Now, myself as a manager, if one of my employees is late, I need to find out. Oh, well, Johnny was sick today. Okay, I understand. And if you're consistently late, that's different. The problem is some people, they're in a leadership role that's placed by their employment. They are not leaders intuitively, and there's a big difference.
Your thoughts?
So many things that you said, just like thinking. One is you radiate so much light over there that I'm thinking when you say speak truth, I know that you probably speak truth with love, and so you can do that and do it well.
Absolutely.
And you kept saying I speak the truth, and maybe people don't want to hear that, but when you do that with love, most people can go, okay, maybe we don't come from the same side, but maybe I could hear you because you're saying it gracefully. I don't know. So that was one. And I was also thinking about, just as a business person, somebody doesn't show up for an appointment. And of course, you have a cancellation fee, all of that, but you don't know their story. Before you start charging them $50 because they didn't show up, they might have been hit by a bus.
And that's a big deal in your business, not showing up.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. You got a phone call, you got a text, you got an email, and then you didn't come. But before we are going to charge your credit card, I want to hear your story.
I want to find your story.
Exactly.
I think stories are really important.
So let's give people the benefit of the doubt before making judgments.
How about the benefit of the doubt and a sense of compassion while also maintaining the authenticity of ourselves, of being confident and perhaps alpha and focused and driven and trying to go 2 steps forward and 1 step back, while also trying to have that compassionate self where you're understanding of others. I struggle with that.
Yeah, I'd like
with
Jerry, would you like to answer that for yourself?
I struggle terribly with that. My wife who's watching right now, she's like, Jerry, listen to the ladies.
When you say
Why
that,
is he asking that?
So funny.
I just expect the best from everybody.
I say that I was not born with a compassion button. I have all the buttons, but I don't have a compassion button. So what happens, and I refer to the ancestors and spiritual as the Most High, that we're all here for a purpose. And so my husband is extremely compassionate. So I will relay something to him, and he'll make a suggestion. So he's the person that makes me activate my compassion. Again, I'm honest with myself. I lack a lot of compassion. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you?
But look what you know that about yourself.
I lack
which
compassion.
is healthy. That's healthy.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more the other. I'm the peacemaker, youngest child, those kinds of things. So at my office, sometimes I'd almost sometimes rather be your friend instead of your boss. And so when I have to do a staff review or call someone out, it's still hard for me. And so that's where I think, am I quite the alpha? Am I worthy of even how did I get 7 or 8 people working for me all of a sudden in the last couple of years, and having to manage that and figure out how to do that, it's definitely made me grow.
I struggle with this, and Harris, I want to get you in the mix here. And Judah, who's one of the producers of the show, he's been working alongside me for 7 years.
I'm sorry, Judah.
And
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, you should apologize. I apologize once a week. I call it a love-hate relationship with Judah. I love him, he hates me. Okay? And you talk about this often on the show, where it's like, in some ways, I do rule. But I try to lead almost expect the most from you.
Yes.
You have said a lot of times on this program, you try to take us out of your comfort zone to get things done here. I'm curious of your perspective on this topic about leadership and how you've seen leadership in general in this office. Throw the show to you, Harris.
I think that, leadership goes hand in hand with your team. It's it's like Aunt Carrie said, Carrie is my aunt. Shout out. It's really about the team dynamic, and if the leader has one role that your team is covering all the other bases at the same time.
So true.
And allowing that leader to take care of their job and free up time and space for the leader to advance the actual overall goal of the business.
I'll just say, I know that Jerry threw a lot. Hey Harris, throw you to the wolves, and how else do you grow? If you're I'm going to sugarcoat you and I'm going to spoon feed you, and
you won't grow.
He's going to be set for so many other jobs.
One of the things
that's
we
a
try,
gift. Yeah.
Thank you. And I'll throw it back to you, and then I want to get Leontyne in the mix here. One of the things we try to do is we say, Harris, you have absolute autonomy. I believe in you. Go make it happen. And then I try not to micromanage and get out of his way. Throw that to you, Harris.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I think helped me learn the most, because I'm like a kinesthetic learner, and the first day I walked in here, you threw me right behind the screen, and I pretty much had to figure it out or die trying, so and that's what I did. I learned it, I think that's what leaders need to do more often, is just be I trust you as a person.
Absolutely.
I trust your confidence. You can do this, and just throw their team at whatever task needs to get accomplished.
And I will say this, Harris Tolber has risen to the occasion and then some. I want to give some props to people who are giving you guys props. Brenda Brown Grooms.
Hey,
she says, go ahead, Leontyne. Like and share the stream. You got a lot. We'll get to you. Cindy Redmond, welcome to the show. Sonia Betty, welcome to the program. Dale McHardy.
Hey, Dale, my friend from the Bahamas.
Joseph McGill.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah, like and share the show on your page. Sarah Miracle says, Carrie, as a member of your team, I have loved your leadership. You're not a boss, you're a vision caster, and I have always loved your business, not only believing in what we're doing together, but believing in myself while working alongside you. I truly love you. That's incredible for your team member to say.
The people that think you're great are actually the ones who are great. Okay, just go ahead.
Cynthia Cannon says, go Carrie Macfarlan, love you.
She's my best friend from Florida.
Love it. So we got Florida and the Bahamas in the house right here.
Hey, vacation time.
Dustin Lee Haney, welcome to the program. Sean Bracken, Viola Starks, Ron Gantz, Eric Renee, Jeremy Stanwyck is watching outside Philadelphia. Brian Hall, Rick Henderson in Richmond. Give it a like, give it a share.
Thank you.
Ray Cadell, thank you for sharing. Your boy Grant Tolbert just shared the show. Thank you, Grant. We certainly appreciate that. Let me throw this to you here. How about the pursuing your passions? You, I think, and all of us have undoubtedly pursued our passions where we've made our passions our professions. So it allows us to work longer hours and grind and not feel so much like we're working and we're grinding because we love to do this. I think we all have something in common in that we love human connection.
Absolutely.
And we love being around people.
I have a thought on that.
And we energize from being around people. Thoughts on this, and we'll throw it to Carrie first.
Well, one of the things that was mentioned, one of Carrie's friends talked about vision. And people like us have vision. Leaders have vision for the full team. We want everyone on the team to be successful. Even though we may lack some compassion, we still want the team to be successful. So for my passion, which is history and genealogy and finding ancestors and connecting all the dots.
So
you
cool.
stay up until 2 in the morning and it doesn't feel like it's hard work. So things that you love, you will dedicate your time, your energy, your resources. So that's really, and if you can, make it into a vocation where you can earn money. Sometimes that's not what you can do. It may not, but it can be your side hustle. Because it becomes your passion.
Your thoughts?
So true. I was thinking about probably Myers-Briggs and Enneagram and all these different strength finders, all these tests. And if I had only taken that when I was Harris's age, that could have been helpful. Because a lot of it said you have a hard time working for the big man.
Oh, yeah.
So big corporations are telling you to be in this box or at this desk or to get the bus on time or all those things. And when you are someone who kind of thinks outside the box and has different ideas and wants to run with those, you kind of need to be your own boss.
You have to be.
And so, and then finding people, not just like-minded, but maybe who, I don't know how many people you have working on your staff, but having people that also don't want to work completely for the big man, but are visionaries in their own right.
Did you always realize, or when did you realize, or how did it come about that you were going to be a number one, a leader, an entrepreneur?
Gosh.
Did you always think that?
Definitely not.
No?
That was Harris's mom. That's my sister.
Yeah.
She just has a way of, she was really great in school, all those things like that. And I just kind of thought, life is fun.
She certainly has a presence.
She does.
I met her at lunch
She's
at
amazing.
the Smoke. She has a presence.
She does. She walks into a room. It's awesome. But I think you finally find your passion.
Your passion.
That's what it was.
People
And then
can
I'm
find their
like, I
passion.
really feel like I can do this and do this well. And having, like you said, your husband who believes in me, those things really helped.
Same question for you.
I think you have to have a passion. And you kind of know as a child, but as you said earlier, you cannot be in a box. I even wrote a book many, many years ago called Box Vision. And in the book, I say that if you're in the box, you can't see anything that's outside. You have to get outside and see what's going on. So my passion really has been to encourage people to read and learn about the history. When you learn about your history, not just your family, but your community, that opens up an entire dimension in your brain and in your socialization. Because we have been taught so many lies in this country.
Oh, that's so true.
We have been taught so many lies. And so this, opens up your pineal gland, which is here, to think more broadly and more evenly about how we are going through this thing we call life. And many of us who refuse to be put in the box, our pineal glands have been activated. So we see things very differently.
When did you start figuring this out? You're opening up my mind.
Yeah, I figured this out years ago, but I will tell you, this is the truth. When I moved to Charlottesville is really when I started questioning a lot of things.
How come?
And I think it was because this was one of the major risks that I had taken. When my husband and I decided to move to Charlottesville, he was still, we had a home in Maryland, and we had to sell the home. So we really took a big risk. I did not have a job. I did not have a place to live. I didn't know anyone in Charlottesville, not a soul.
Wow.
So when we moved here, and I'm going to give a shout out to Jeff Gaffney.
Yes, Real Estate 3.
Yeah, Jeff Gaffney was my first landlord.
Oh.
Yes, and he was so good to us because we were struggling here, and that's what I'm talking about. The people in Charlottesville, you never know who's going to come into your life. And so there were a lot of obstacles. I had to find employment. My husband wasn't here. He had to come and visit. We had a daughter in college. And then we lived in the Hollymead area. So my daughter was in the 5th grade. She left her friends back in Maryland. But at the end of the day, my younger daughter, she ended up going to St. Anne's Belfield. She graduated from St. Anne's. She was the yearbook editor. She grew as an individual. She played on the basketball. So there's a reason and a purpose for everything, and it may not be just for you. Again, my first team, and I think all of our first team, should be our family. We make sacrifices for our family. And so it may not even have been about me, but about my daughters.
Wow, I love that answer. Thoughts on that one, Carrie? That was good.
Yeah, that's great. Really, totally agree with you.
How about the inspiration of family around you? And how about, let me throw this to you here. I gain, and I'm so new at this, and we talked off air. So, you know, my wife is instrumental with this business, doing payables and receivables and social media and project management. She's doing this while having our 14-month-old on her leg.
Yes.
Right.
Keeping him alive.
Yes.
I have seen in the 14 months of my son being on this planet how women are undoubtedly superheroes
We
and
are.
should rule the world.
We should.
And men cannot do what women do.
Men can.
I swear,
men cannot.
I cannot
So
do what
glad
she
you
does.
realized
No,
that.
and I took it for granted when it was my brother and I with my mom because we just had no perspective. And then you get the perspective of having to keep this like 3-foot, 30-pound child alive and feed him
do.
and keep him alive, and you're like, this is so freaking hard.
It
Yes.
is.
So hard.
We're multitaskers, and women, we have to keep all of the balls in the air balanced at all times and not let the balls drop, because if it drops and crashes, somebody might die.
That's a perfect. You're totally right.
Or miss the field trip because I didn't get that thing signed.
It's like life is this juggling
It
act,
is.
and you have a bunch of tennis balls and one glass ball, and the one glass ball is your family, and that's the one ball you cannot drop.
You cannot drop it.
Cannot drop it. So I'm going to throw that to you
Okay,
about balancing motherhood and being a businesswoman.
That is a really good one. I was a single mom also for a couple of years, and so every woman out there who's a single mom, it's more than just a shout out. Go girl, you can do
Absolutely.
it. It's super hard, and I just give them so much credit.
Absolutely.
But on that same note, we're the Brady Bunch now. We've got 6 kids. A couple of them are married. We've got 6 grandkids and 1 in the cooker.
Aw.
And it is so much fun right now.
It is fun.
So as the businesswoman, I used to I've got to be here in the control factor, and I've got to have this clothing party because this person said it's the only date they can do. And when am I going to see my grandkids? And now, I don't know if it's like you get into your 50s and I say, I'm going to have very competent women who work with me, who bring things that I would have never brought to my business, and even say, why do we do it that way, Carrie? Well, we should have been doing it that way. All right, let's change that.
Let's do it.
I don't need to be there to, like Harris said, be super controlling. Let's let them do their thing so that I can still now be at a place where I can have time off, go to ACAC, be with my grandchildren. We're in a really sweet spot.
We are.
But I wasn't there 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Too much control was going on.
How did you get to that point? Emotionally, physically, mentally?
And I would say financially. Let's throw that in there because we're successful.
Kids are expensive.
Kids are
Oh,
expensive.
they
but
are.
yeah.
Very expensive.
Especially if they're going to St. Anne's and then
Yeah.
and a couple of them were in college all at the same time.
Very expensive.
I really think there's something, I always call it the chair. And if one little part of the chair is off, one of them's the mental side, one of them's your spiritual side, one of them's your financial side, your physical side. What am I missing there? Emotional side. If any of those are off balance, you are not healthy enough
that's
to
true.
work, to be a mom, to be a good wife, all of those things, good for your community. So keeping those in check. When you wake up, it might be like weekly. One of them might be off balance for about a month because you couldn't get to the gym. But you're like, what do I need to do to get my chair where all four legs feel right so that I can be the best Carrie for everyone else?
You have to
and
be.
You have to be.
What do you think?
Have to be. I agree 100%. The mother or the leader in the family, who is typically the mother.
It's the mom.
It's the mom.
Yeah.
Mom's doing everything. Mom.
Yes,
you
sweetheart,
know.
it's you. It's you, sweetheart. I know you're
She's
watching
in the
right now.
kitchen,
She's
in the
watching.
Yes, mom. She is the. Yeah,
She is.
in,
She's the sun. We're the planet.
She is
That's
absolutely.
right.
Absolutely. And that's how it just is. And I remember, and I talk about my paternal grandmother a lot because I lived with her. At one point in time, I think there were like 16 people living in her home. Wow. Her name was Laura.
Wow.
And when but this was her position in life. She said that all of my children, she was the mother of 8 children. So she said all of my children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren, they all belong to me. Oh. So as long as I have a place to live, and she had a little tiny house, they have always a place to live. As long as I have food, they have food. This was an incredible woman. And at the time, we didn't call these women entrepreneurs, but she was a domestic worker. And she had different places where she went, in the community, and she cleaned homes. She was very well respected in the community.
Where did she live?
She lived in Piedmont, West Virginia. Okay. And so that's how I learned to really know how important a mother is. But not just
what a great
mother.
Example.
Yeah, she was
to
a
everybody.
perfect example. And my maternal grandmother was the same, but I saw it up close and personal with my father's mother because she just navigated everything. And what was interesting about her, I'm not even sure, I know that I couldn't do this. When she passed away and we had her funeral, all of us, and I think there are like over 25 grandchildren, we all felt like we were her only one.
Oh my goodness.
Her only grandchild.
How
That's
lovely.
how special because she would.
That's a gift.
It's a gift, and I couldn't do that.
Would you do the same? Let's throw this to both of you guys. So this is one thing that we go back and forth, my wife and I, about. So I left the home, my home where I grew up at 18. So I've been on my own since I was 18. It was, was independent, was also, not the most well-behaved, had some, a little bit of friction with my dad. We've made up, we're good, but I just wanted to get out of the nest and do it since I was 18, but on my own. So my wife, we talk about this, I'm like, with our son, Trey at 18, let's get him going, let's get him being a man. She's like, no, he can stay as long as he needs to figure it out. This house is his house for as long as he wants. If he's 30 years old, that's fine. And I was like, that's not going to help him. She goes, listen, that's how it's going to be. And I'm not going to budge on this. Let me throw that topic, and let me throw that to you
good.
About 18 out,
That's good.
over supporting.
Oh, I have something.
I do think we live in a different world from once you graduated from college, you never, ever went back home. You just didn't.
That's true.
You were on your own, and you wouldn't even really have asked your parents, can I come back for a little while? But I'm actually okay with it. I think we live in a world where, the whole millennial thing is so hard anyway, and there's so many different job choices, and they're not sure who they're going to be, and they're passionate about a lot of things, but they're not sure how to run with that. And so I'm kind of the mindset, each one of our kids were at a place. Even one was 28. She came back from something that was hard, and she needed to live with us for a little while. I'm like, this is lovely. We had so much fun having her live with us for a little while. So I think it's just a different world than us when we were like, I'm out.
Yes.
I'm not coming back.
I agree 100%, and I think again we can learn from history because in the very beginning, extended families lived together, and they didn't move out until they got married, and then
the grandmother was living there,
and then the grandmother was living, and so you had multi-generational. But just as I left at 17, I didn't have any intentions of coming back. It was a different time, but now I think that we're almost going back to the past to say you can stay with me as long as you need to get, and then you can save money so that when you leave, you are financially equipped and emotionally equipped. Now, having said that, if you're living here and you're working, you are going to pay some rent.
Exactly.
You're not living rent-free. That's a different thing, and you're not going to be a freeloader. But I agree with your wife 100%. When you're ready to go, make sure that young adult is responsible in your home. and then when he decides to marry or leave, then he has money and he might be able to buy his own property or do his own investment. So I think that it's really important nationally, because a lot of young people are just being pushed out of the nest, and they're not ready. And they're not
financially,
ready.
emotionally.
They're not ready.
Laura, my wife, just gave the hand clap emoji. And thank you, Leontyne.
We're with you, Laura.
Let's be friends, Laurel.
I agree.
Let's relay some of the perspective from the viewers. I want to talk about millennials and also legacy here shortly. Susan Taylor Keck. Carrie not only has understanding of something, but she's someone who acts on it and is willing to take risk, which is part of her success. I'm proud of you.
Hi, Susan.
Wendy Frances. Carrie, our rock star. I have such admiration for you, and I'm so honored to call you a dear friend. She's giving you some props.
Wow.
Cynthia Viejo, she's speaking as an entrepreneur. As an owner of a company and an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to do what you ask of your employees. I do this. I lead by example. She owns a real estate business in town. Guys, give it a like and a share on any channel that you're watching here. Welcome Hodges Myers and Alexander Elliott. We have folks watching in D.C., in Richmond, in Nashville, Charleston, outside Chicago, Pennsylvania, Long Island, Florida, and the Bahamas.
Wow.
I'm going to say, hey, Hodges, everybody should get him to do some work for you, and he's bumping out a wall so I have more space at my office.
Oh, cool.
I love it. Thank you, Kathy Dobby or Dobie?
Dobie,
for sharing the show. We certainly appreciate that. You mentioned, let me throw millennials to you.
Okay.
The millennial mindset. How about an open-ended question on the millennial mindset and how it may be different from your mindset when you were a similar age?
Well, I have 2 millennials, and
what are their ages?
And one is 31.
Okay.
The other one will be 26.
you had her when you were 10?
Yeah, I did.
12?
She was born when I was like in kindergarten. Yeah.
Okay, go
Well,
ahead.
you know, I'm always 29. It never moves. They just get older. But they both lived on their own, but they are still both entrepreneurial too. So they inherit that from me. I think that if millennials are guided in the proper way, that they can be very successful, but they don't have the attachment to things that we have. So they don't feel like I need to have a house and furniture and a big car. I want more adventures.
They want experiences.
Yeah. And I agree with that. I mean, I agree with it. The first time that I traveled outside of the United States, I was 16 years old, and I went to Paris. And that was unheard of back then. But I had to work a year and save the money, and then my father, I did half and he did half. So my millennial daughters, what they're doing now is working and saving money and traveling. They want more experiences, because the thing is that those opportunities don't come all the time. You get locked into a job or you become a parent, and you don't have the freedom to do it. So I just would say, until you're like 35, do your thing.
Okay, so our kids are between 26 and 36, and a couple of them that have the kids were travelers, but now they have kids.
Yeah, and see, you were 5 when you had yours.
Exactly. My baby girl is living in Ecuador. This is Harris's cousin, and she worked for 2 years as an ESL teacher, saved, so that she could teach English in South America, but it's mostly that girl is traveling.
Yes, that's what it's about. They want to travel.
And you're right. I do think the millennials also, they're about social justice. They want to simplify, but then they also want kind of the finer things in life. So they're trying to figure out how to do all of that on a budget.
But I think that makes them, especially the travel, makes them more well-rounded.
Definitely.
And, because they understand what's going on globally.
So you're saying you would have done it differently had you, when you were younger?
Well, my dad
Because I've been working for 11 years. I took literally 70 hours a week. I've taken one vacation in 11 years.
Yeah.
That's your own fault.
It is my fault. The vacation and came back from our honeymoon pregnant. That changed things all over again.
It
That
does.
created more work, right there.
It does.
But it's created a level of success, but it's created regrets because I have not had the experiences that other folks have had because I've been so razor focused on work.
But you'll be able to do it because you're still young. Like, we're still young too, and our children are grown, and so now we can go and still do those things. You know, shout out to the Bahamas. We go to the Bahamas as often as we can. We have a friend,
love
so
it.
we can stay with her.
And I went to Ecuador and the Galapagos this year, and we're about to go to Italy next month.
Yeah,
So,
you'll love Italy.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. So I want to talk about legacy. Before we get to legacy, and that'll be the final topic, we got Louise Monk watching in Richmond, and she says, Leontyne, can you tell me about your outfit? I absolutely love it.
Love it.
Well, this is the problem with my outfits. I do a lot of vintage shopping all throughout the area, so I have no idea even where I bought it.
Okay. Well, you're getting props.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Thank
love
you.
it. Last topic here. We're 62 minutes in. It's flowing by. I thoroughly have enjoyed this. I often think about, and maybe it's old soul, old soulish here, but legacy and what my legacy is going to be. My wife is like, Jerry, you're 36 years old. What the hell are you talking about here?
But it's important.
Yeah, it's important.
It
But
is
I
important.
think about it constantly. I'm like, what is my legacy? Do you think about that? Let me throw it. Carrie, why don't we start with you? Legacy and how you will be remembered?
I'll tell you when I think about it. Unfortunately, we're in a stage where we've been to a lot of funerals, and you are sitting there kind of in your mortality thinking, what would people say about me? And hopefully what they would say is, this woman was a lover of people. She loved family. She was about relationships, and she was about Jesus. And I feel like if I can just leave the world with like that, knowing that people know that, then I've done my job.
I love that answer. Let's sizzle reel that answer, please. Let me throw the same one to you.
You know, really, since I was a young child, I always thought about the legacy that people would think about me when I left. What impact?
Think about it constantly.
Yeah, and I did too as a child. And one of the things that I always wanted people to know, especially African American people, is that we come from a great culture and from a great people. And I have devoted my life to trying to educate people, all people, about our contributions to this world. So if there's not, you don't have to have a master's degree or a PhD or a post-PhD to have the love for your culture and for people to understand. That's my legacy.
That is awesome.
I love that answer. And you do it in such an approachable way.
Thank you.
You do it in a way that is like...
I want to be on your team.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like it's like approachable, it's kind, it's confident, it's deep thinking. It's just like want to be around you.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Yeah, I love it.
you.
I love
I
it.
appreciate
Sizzle reel her answer, please. Ladies, you guys crushed it. It is literally 65 minutes in. I felt like it's 6.5.
It does.
Thank you
truly
so
grateful.
much.
Yes.
I don't know how you do that every day where you're asking questions, or it's cool.
Amazing.
Very
Thank
cool.
you.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Well, the way I'm able to do this is because I just stay out of the way and let you guys just share your perspective. And
You
guys
ask great
undoubtedly
questions. Great
carry the
questions,
show.
though.
You do.
Thank you. Thank
do.
you.
All right.
Guys, we have What's Barking Local, a show that spotlights the animal community, and that's going to be in 89 minutes here on the I Love CVille network. It's powered by Animal Connection. Got a great show lined up for you in 89 minutes. We close the program the same way every time, and we ask you guys to embody the golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated yourself. Treat others how you want to be treated yourself, and watch the positive impact it will have on our community, whether that's smiling to somebody, whether that's opening the door for somebody, allowing somebody to go ahead of you at the traffic light, picking up some trash and helping somebody out, help someone cross the street. Treat others how you want to be treated yourself. Charlottesville and Central Virginia, in fact, the world needs this now more than ever. It's the golden rule. Please embody it. I'm
Amen.
Jerry Miller. It's the I Love CVille Show. We'll see you in 88 minutes now with What's Barking Local on the I Love CVille network.
Wow. That was wonderful.
I mean,
Thank you so much.
True gift to be able to do that 5 days a week.
It is
and
a
ask
gift.
those questions and like come up with a question that's not the same as the last 5
Yeah.
days. And really cool.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Thank you
you
so
so
much.
much.
This is
One
great.
thing left, it's the photo.
Oh, okay.
Hero